What's up, guys? Time to show off a new build. This is a new Kraken. This is a lasered brass style where we lasered out the background, and it's nice and shiny brass, and then I aged the backgrounds, aged the Kraken itself, and then sanded it slightly so that it gives a little bit of a brushed pop, and then backside loomed it. Since that was done in brass, I did a set of gold paddle hands on that with a black seconds hand. Yet your brushed 170 case did a matte Atlas bezel with a brass brushed minute insert, Kraken engraved milled caseback on a custom two-piece wristband strap with Krakens lasered throughout, with a brass aged Kraken engraved preview buckle. So I think this thing came out pretty freaking awesome. Bezel on this will turn left, it'll turn right. It is a tension ring bezel and it will not move unless you want it to move. I have it on there nice and tight. Automatic mechanical, it's got a rotor in the back, so as you're moving, it's moving and keeping time throughout the day. But before you put it on, before you set it, wind it just a little bit, because if you set your time and you put it on and you're not as active, you could be losing seconds here and there in between your movements, so until it gets wound up a bit. So back the crown off the threads until you hear it and feel it clicking. You'll notice you're off that crown tube, a little bit of play there. You hear the clicking. At that point you can wind, and a wind is a turn away from you or clockwise as you're looking at it. If you turn it back towards you, it clicks, but it does not wind. But it is a lot easier to keep your finger spacing and go back and forth, so I do that for 4 or 5 seconds. Wind, not wind, wind, not wind. 4 or 5 seconds of that mixed with the rotor movement will keep your time throughout the day. If you know you're going to be driving or at a desk where you're not going to be doing a lot of movement, go ahead and wind it a little bit longer. You cannot overwind it, so don't worry about that. It's got a slipping mainspring. And when you're happy with your winding, if you do that for another 4 or 5 seconds, you will max out your 31-hour plus power reserve on it. When you're happy with your winding, you're going to pull it to the one and only click. You can now set your time. You'll notice that seconds hand is going to keep going because this is not a hacking movement. At this point, you can now set your time. You'll see you've got a little bit of play in the crown. This is a wobble crown, and it deflects lateral pressure from going into the stem and into the movement. So if you're being rough on it or at all, it's kind of rolling like a little ball joint. Alexa, what time is it? 11:55. Push this over, get it out of that time setting. Wind it down. And there is your build. As with every build, you're going to get complimentary beads. You're going to get a Kraken slider box with Atlas pillow. Atlas watch pillow inside. Add it up there upside down. You're going to get a few other things. You're going to get watch cleaners. This is good on all glass and metal. So pretty much everything right there in the center. Non-streaking, non-toxic, non-residue, as well as a microfiber. You're also going to get leather conditioner, though you're probably never going to need it on this strap. If you would need it on one of your other straps, don't use one of the microfibers. You don't want that to get hard and solidify on one of the microfibers, and then you kind of rub it into the brushed case and put a line in it. So use a rag or something else to apply that. So, and I would apply it on front and back so that it soaks in. So that will give you your pliableness. Plus it smells nice too. So, and then lastly, you're going to get some fine scratch remover. This is Novus 2 from Amazon, just repackaged. It's like Poly Watch, and it's for your domed acrylic glass. You can scratch that. So if you do, you're going to put a tiny bit of this on it and buff it out with your other microfiber. Generate some heat with your thumb, do tiny, tiny circles on it, kind of working it into it. And about 30 seconds later, you should have it buffed out. If you would scratch your case, use the green side of, man, I'm going to cough again. Green side of a Scotch-Brite and brush it in with single passes that are rounded, and you will kind of make that scratch not as popping, not as shiny. You won't get rid of it, but you'll kind of brush it in where it's not seeing it as much, but don't go back and forth till you get a line. You want rounded lines. But that's the build. It'll be available in tonight's, I say tonight's event because I'm assuming I'm going to get this posted. Well, you saw it was 11:55, so it's Friday night. So tonight, regardless, this will be at 23 a spot. And yeah, that's it. If it's going to you, congrats. I hope you love it. And if you want me to build you something custom and unique, reach out and I'll see what I can do. And if you want to continue to see videos like this, like and subscribe as I put them up all the time. Thanks, guys.